あれセーブしたよね。あれあ、そっかそっか。大丈夫か。暗。よし。ケイ。ケイだ。おばあちゃんか。で、おばあちゃんはフリンチ家じゃないから。
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
フリンチ家じゃないからおばあちゃんは関係ないのかな。あれ、いつの間に手の模様変わった？手の模様変わってた。
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
これもあいつか？手のやつ絶対変わってるって。こんなんじゃなかった。あ、いや、誰だ？ドーンって、あ、お母さんか。お母さんたちだ。1年しか生きてないグレゴリーは。これ絶対悲しいだろう。ディボースだから、離婚ですか。
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
なんで死因のやつ置くのあそこに。死因じゃないか、直接な。何これ、本当に呪われてるな、お前ら全員。とんでもねえな。で、グレゴリーの今の、あれか。グレゴリーってじゃあここ住んでなかったんじゃないの？違う？サムが別のとこいたのか。でも離婚してケイがこっちいたの？ケイがなんか違うとこいたんかな、多分。母さんのとこはなくなってるけど。ガスも。
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet.
鶏みたいなやつだな。予想してみるとどうやって死んだか。タコだな。タコをあげて。で、タコに夢中になってたら、海の中落ちて死んだ。はい。69から12だから13か。
Who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard.
ここあれだ。庭だ、普通に。取っちゃっていいの？
My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that I learned.
ママ母って何？義理のお母さんでしょ？義理のお母さんなんていらないって言って、再婚なんてしなくていいよって。あ、これ倒れてたやつだ、この間。
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
みー。
The wind picked up and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Oh.
The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made.
Oh.
The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder."
Oh.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea and foam.
Ooh.
But I didn't. Until we found you.
あれなんか両手になんかついてたけど、いつの間に？なんかいつの間にこんな両手
She
に？
never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus. 誰がこの髪型にしたん？
泣いてる。今泣いてた。旗が泣いてた。この旗のせいで死んだもんな。暗っ。何これ。縄跳び100回。なんか、ジャンピングジャック。なんだっけ。150回。腕立て100回。クランチーズってなんだろう。腹筋から100回。すごい、そんな鍛えられてたんだね。うわ。これいいじゃん。あ、続きだ。これってさ、屋上だよね、今。そうだよね。暗くて何も見えないな、さすがに。こんぐらいにしちゃうか。ちょっと。いや、違うか。違うか。1段階ぐらい上げたよな、これで多分。誰の家だろ、これ。
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died.
なるほど。
At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
これは超危ないな、これ毎日乗ってんの。まあ、鍛えてるだったら大丈夫か。これガスとタコをあげてたガスと多分お母さんだな。バイブルですか。
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died.
これ赤ちゃんだ。なんかあるな。こんな狭いとこで寝てたん。めちゃくちゃ狭いけど。縦にも狭いし、横にも狭いし。サンジェイ
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
カッターってどこだ。ドーンだって。インディアか。ドーン・フィンチ。なかなか熱心に勉強してるタイプだったんだよね。
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Lewis was born a year later.
早いね、割と。危ねえ。わあ、あ、そういえばこんな感じだったね。
When
な
my
んか
dad died, I don't think mom knew where else to go.
それでここに来たんか。
I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back.
そう、イーディ置いてきぼりにされてたのか、一時期。だってケイはもう引っ越しちゃったでしょ。リュイスが88年前で87年にもうどっか行っちゃったわけでしょ。いない。ウォルターだけかもしれないしていない。結構年離れてんだね。37年離れて、あ、違うか、あれか。あ、オーディンはエディのお父さんか。そっか。そう。めちゃくちゃなんか、いいのって感じだけど。そんな設定みたいな。ちょっとまずいね。37歳差はちょっとまずいんじゃないとか思ったけど。ね。 スヴェンはいつ死んだんだっけ？あれか、ドラゴン作ってる時に死んだけど、よくわかんない。スヴェンいたかもな。もしかしたら。でもいたとしても、スヴェンとウォルターしかもういなかったわけだじゃん。エディと一緒には。でそれで戻ってきたんか。それ嬉しいわけだな、戻ってきたら。あ、エディス、ミルトン。
And to see kids in the house again.
うん。ルイス。ドン。月かと思ったわ。なんかフェスみたいな。
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
イーディは強いね。これが誰のやだ？学
And for a
校？
while, things were good. Almost normal.
あれか。なんかあるよね。アメリカだと。アメリカとかだとあるよね。なんかホームスクールみたいな。学校に子供を送らずになんか家でなんか授業を受けさせるみたいな。で、なんか親がその授業をするわけだけど。そういう感じかな。まあこんなとこ住んでるもんね。ルイス、ルールズ。ルイスが一番。エディス。バーバラ、モリー、サム、カルリン、グレゴリー、オーディン、スペン、ガス。なんでエディスはもう昔から執着してたんか割と。ファミリーヒストリー。本当かフィクションか。
But it didn't last.
オーディン・フィンチ。あ、エディスが作ったやつ。友達とか一切できないよね。でもホームスクールだと。それが一番あれじゃない？他の人間に対するあれが。地震で死んだって話だな、なんか。あ、そうか。父親か。うわ、や
The
ばいん
beginning
じゃん。
of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
イーディ、すごいね。結構なババアだよね、だってもう。その時ですらもう、70とか80とかだよね。消えちゃうのこっち。ミルトンって落書きしちゃうけど。あ、この中から入れんかな。なんでそんなことすんの？だる。うわ。何あれ。ミルトン。あ、これがミルトンの部屋なんか。
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
久しぶりに入んのかな。画家だね。これ足跡。でもドアのなんかあれ見たな。ハンドルみたいな。入れないよ。
I think Edie was happy to finally have another painter in the family.
バンクシーみたいだね、マジで。すげえセンスだね。これで子供なの？ めちゃくちゃうまくね。これはさ、なんか CG のなんかあれなんかぽいけど、書いてたとして誰あれ、オーディンかな。これで上上がる。すげえ。あ、初だな、ミルトンちゃんと見るの。前がミルトンか。すごっ。めちゃくちゃ黒ばっか使ってる割に。やっぱ黒多いな、なんか。パッと見。このゲームフラッシュライトないの？フラッシュライトいい加減あった方がよくない？上手。ミルトン、魔法の鉛筆。
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
すごっ。てかこれ普通にすごい、このアニメーション。ミルトンこれだけ？あれ
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
こんな絵だけなの？こんな絵だけでいいの？本当に？めちゃくちゃおしゃれやん。自分のあれもう確立してたの？アイコン。
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
これだよね、ミルトンが入ってったのって。この中に入ってっちゃったの？でもそういう世界じゃないよね、これって。普通に現実世界
Whatever
だよ
Milton
ね。
had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
見るとなんかいろいろ見つけてたっぽいもんね。そういえばドアちゃんと閉めてないの、この人。
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself.
何があるんだろう、てっぺんに。会えんのかな、あいつ。
After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
部屋に閉じこもった母さんが缶詰の工場の仕事見つけてくるまで。点の位置がおかしかったな。
Everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room. Except Lewis.
こんな感じなんだ。大麻だな、あれ。まあ、悪だったんだ、割と。うわ、おしゃれやな、この兄弟。おしゃれ兄弟かよ。何これ、見たことないけど、こんなのって。おい、これ、船じゃねえ。ね、何者？イーディは。イーディが作ったの？あれか。協力してもらったんかな、知り合いとかに。大麻だ、大麻。
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
い 蛍光灯電池持つね。大学、でも18の時死んでなかった。12、大学卒業して死んじゃったんか。バランスボールが椅子代わりのやつ。超いいし、これ。めちゃくちゃ回線は悪そうだけどな。超いいじゃん。すげえいいやん、これ。何これ？何のキャラ？WASD って何？ケーマソンって何このキーボード？ショートカットキーみたいなのいっぱいあるかい？あれか？ MMO か？サイドボタンからかね、その場合。ルイス・フィンチのロッカーの中身。学校から送られてきたのかな、多分。サイコロジー。
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life.
びっくりしたな。これだけ見て何かと思ったよね。
He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it.
やばい、手が動かない。手が全然動かない。
He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth.
わかる。でも足もさ、結構なんかボケーとしちゃうんだよね。
Then something moved. Bats and toads.
足もボケーとしてさ、人の話聞いたようなところとかめっちゃあるんだよね。
He knew it was all in his head.
あ、
But he took it very seriously.
じゃあこのレベルはねえ
He'd
な。
find himself.
邪魔。
But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused.
周りから案外そう見えると。
Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him.
どんどん広くなってくね。
It seemed very promising at first.
犬。
He told me he'd made a new friend.
犬。キャプチャーしよう。使命だからこれが。よし。犬。
On the edge of a city he named
大丈夫か？
Lewis Topia.
おう。見てなかった。
He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians.
すごい。どういうことですか？
And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery.
口を聞くこともなくなったと。
But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished.
何すんのこれ。
He held an election for mayor. And he won.
こんなことになってたのル
They
イス。
begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home
Minneapolis.
from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on.
あ、母さんいたんだ。
In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a
女王。
handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for radiant rainbows.
Ah.
He followed the sound of her
エレキシタールって何？
electric sitar.
あ、なんかジョジョで聞くやつ。ジョジョのエンディング流れるやつ。
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
やべえ、もう見えない現実世界。あ、
He
女
knew
王
the
様。
world was all in his imagination.
It's すごっ。あ、すごいもう。トップだ。
But he was so proud of having created it.
スパッ。やけ。
In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
ああ。これで現実世界に持って耐えれなくなるパターンね。
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon,
はい。
but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Oh. Cool. Ah, 今日も疲れた。ゲームウォッチャーあるよ。
He began to forget the world we know.
引いて。はい、これ。洋食
I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
Finch.もう動いてないじゃん。ああ。
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
飾ってあった人形だ。
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him.
いけないかもしれない。モリーだ。うちで飼ってるモリーだ。まだこの時モリー来てるんだ。
His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head.
神戸を垂れる絵。
I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
サーモンちぎってるやつで。人間の骨貫通しないだろ、サーモンのやつじゃ。
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
これ多分自分の子供に向けて書いてるんだよね。おじさんってことかな。あとはドーンとじゃあエディだけだもん。完全に。もう真っ暗だ、外も。大学卒業してサーモン工場か。厳しいな、ちょっと。引き戸なんだこれ。こんな狭いのに。
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie.
ああ、そっか。ルイスが死んでみんなもう、あれか。
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
そうね、そういえばルイスかも2010年の11
I
月か。
wish we'd stayed.
何これ。
But I understand why we left.
ああ、引っ越しのあれか、緩衝材か。エリス、マム。ミルトンの。これお母さんの部屋か。うん、ドーン・フィンチの、なんか、
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
なんでそんな急いでたん？サンジェイの。本当は、クマーなのか、私。フリンチじゃなくて。なんでフリンチ引き継いじゃったんだろう。見えねえ。
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
エリスだ。自分の部屋？一番年下の子に一番こんな上がるのきつい部屋。
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
すげえあったけー。あったけー。この映像。うわ。iPad 置いてったのかよ。うん。ペンだ、ペン。書くのマジでこっから
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
To our final night together, and all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
図書室だ。みんなが眠ってると噂の。
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories! I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight.
見えねえけどあんま。
We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
あれオーディン、ミルトン、ルイス。フィンチの歴史なんでいいのこれ誰の部屋これ誰の部屋だでもエディ・フィンチ、バイ・エディ・フィンチって書いてあるから、ここがおばあちゃんがたまに訪れてるとこなんかな。
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground.
いけるのマジ
There'd
で
been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean.
すごっ
They called it
こんなことあ
the
んの
lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life.
でもあの家の謎がこの家が
I
もとも
never
と呪われ
thought
てたん
I'd
じゃない
go
の
back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
やべ
I got turned around. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
え何
It's mine.
Edith!
あ違うあれか
Rip it, let go!
そっか昔かこれびっくりした
I
びっ
kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car.
くりした現実今お
I
母さん
never
が
saw Great Grandma Edie again.
イーディ
The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone.
いなかった
After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone.
でも病死って割と普通だな、なんか。一番普通じゃない？
The last Finch left alive.
フィンチ家の最後の生き残り。
Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is.
あれ、もしかして、これは、
This journal was supposed to be for you.
賛同。
But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
マジで？ああ。フォーシャリ・ダラス。イアン・ダラス。なるほど。親か。いいですね。いや、まだなんかちょっとハテナな部分もあるけど、あれなってか、あれがわかんない。真ん中、自分の兄貴の真ん中がどこに消えたのかとか、なんか、どっか想像力がすごすぎてどっか行っちゃってそのまま、なんていうの、探検とかしてるうちに死んじゃったんかな。ミルトンね、ミルトン。いや、めちゃくちゃいいゲームだけど。なるほど、こんな感じなんだ。あんますっきりはしないな、終わり方。結局みんな呪いで死んじゃったんだ。自分の母親を2017年ってどういうことだろう。産んで死んじゃったんかな。そういうことかな。犬いっぱいいるけど。めちゃくちゃいい。いや、めちゃくちゃいいよ。めちゃくちゃいいゲームだったと思う。めちゃくちゃいいゲームだったと思う。ギュッとくる感じのゲームだね。ギュね。ギにユね。ちっちゃい。ギにユにツね。ギュッとなるゲームだね。なんやあの赤ちゃん。何やろじゃあんな赤ちゃん可愛くないね。冗談ね。この部屋綺麗だったな。この部屋の衝撃がすごかった。このピーチーズ。食ってたね、ピーチー。あの部屋のやつ。 うわ、アメリカだね、この写真。実弾あれ。本物銃。でかねえな、こんなゲーム。めちゃくちゃ独創性に溢れてるのもよかったよね。やって楽しかった、なんか。楽しいよね、なんかいろいろ面白いアイディアがあって。こんなエンディング思いつくぐらいだもんな。見たことねえけど、子供の頃の写真。今の写真とかですらなくて、子供の頃の写真こうやって、パーってやつ。これさ、一番最初にさ、ぐるぐる回してたら、射撃地下行けたんかな。The end。5年もかけて作ったんか。あ、エディとドーンと追加されてね。こいつは繋がってんのか。ミルトンだけなんか薄くなかった、めちゃくちゃ。いいね、いいですね。しみるね。